Hello and welcome to the University of York Drama Society's Week 9 production of The Duchess of Malfi, directed by Sarah Parry and produced by Abby Evans. Please be aware that the content warnings for this show include the presence of abuse, blood, violence, pregnancy, childbirth, classism, abduction, mental illness and sexism. There will also be sudden loud noises and flashing lights. If there are any emergencies, you'll be asked to exit the barn using the main entrance on the right, which you came in from. The show has a running time of 2.5 hours and an interval of 20 minutes. Please turn all mobile devices to silent and enjoy the show.
You are welcome to your country, dear Antonio. You have been a long time in France and return a very formal Frenchman in your habit. How did you like the French court?
I admire it. In seeking to reduce both state and people to a fixed order, their judicious king begins at home. Quits first his royal palace of flattering sycophants, of dissolute and infamous persons, which he calls his master's masterpiece, the work of heaven, considering duly that a prince's court is like a common fountain, when it should flow pure drops of silver in general. But if some cursed example should poison it near the head, death and diseases through the whole land spread. And what is it makes this blessed government but a most provident council? Though some of the court hold it instruction to instruct the king what he ought to do, it is a common duty to inform him what he ought to foresee. Here comes Bosser, the only court ghoul. Yet I observe his railing is not the simple love of piety. He rails at those things which he wants, to be as lecherous, covetous, bloody, proud, or envious as any man, if he had means to be so. He is the cardinal.
I haunt you still?
So?
I have done thee better service than to be slighted thus, our miserable age, for the only reward of doing well is the doing of it.
You enforce your merit too much.
I spanned the galleys in your service, and for 2 years altogether I wore 2 shirts instead of a towel, with a knot at the shoulder after the fashion of a Roman mantle. Slighted thus, I will thrive some way. Blackbirds have had it best in hard weather, why not I in these dog days?
Would you could become honest?
With all your divinity, do not direct me the way to it. And then many travel far, for yet return as arrant knaves who went forth. They took themselves with them. Oh, you've gone. Some fellows, they say, were possessed with the devil, but this great fellow were able to possess the greatest devil and make him worse.
She hath denied thee some suit.
She and her sister are like plum trees grown crooked over standing pools. They are rich and all laden with fruit, but none but crows, pies, and caterpillars who feed on them. Could I be one of their flattering panders, I would hang on their rear like a horse leash, so I will fall, then drop off. I pray, leave me. Who would rely upon these miserable dependencies in expectation to advance tomorrow? What creature ever fed worse than hoping tantalus, nor ever died any man more fearfully than he that hoped for a pardon? There are rewards for dogs and hawks when they do a service, but for a soldier that has his limbs in a battle, not the kind of geometry is his last supplication.
Geometry?
Aye, to hang in a fair pair of slings, take latter swing in the world upon an honourable pair of crutches from hospital to hospital. Very well, sir, but do not scorn us, for places in the court are but like beds in the hospital, for this man's head lies at that man's foot, and so lower.
I knew this fellow 7 years in the galleys for a notorious murder, and was thought the cardinal suborned it. He was released by the French general Gaston Dufour when he recovered Naples.
Tis a pity he should be thus neglected. I've heard he's very valiant. This foul melancholy will poison all his goodness, for I'll tell you, if a truly immoderate sleep be said to be an inward rust unto the soul, it then doth follow that want of action breeds all black malcontents, and their close rearing like moths in cloth do hurt for want of wearing.
Presence against still, you promised me to make me the partaker of the natures of some of your great courtiers.
Oh, the Lady Cardinals and some others that are now in court. I shall. Here comes the great Calabrian lady.
When shall we leave this sportive action and fall to action indeed?
Methinks, my lady, you should have no desire to go to work.
Yes, now for some gravity. Why?
It is fitting a soldier arise to a prince, but not necessarily a prince descend to a captain.
No.
No, she would find us to do it by a deputy.
A deputy. Well, why should you not as well sleep or eat by a deputy? This might take idle, offensive, and base office from her, but the other deprives her of honour.
I believe by experience the ground is never long inquired to wear ruler, soldier.
Thou told me thy wife could not endure fighting.
That's true, my lady.
Of a jest she broke of a captain she met for the winds, I forgot it.
She told him, my lady, he was a pitiful fellow to lie like the children of Ishmael, rule in tent.
Why, there's a wit, we're able to undo all the surgeons of the city. Although gallants should quarrel and have drawn their weapons and are ready to go to it, yet her persuasions will make them put up.
That she would, my lady. How did you like my Spanish to get it?
He's on fire.
I'm of Pliny's opinion. I mean, he was begot by the wind. He runs as if he were ballast with quicksilver.
True, my lady, he reels from the tilt of it.
Why do you laugh?
Methinks you that are courtiers should be my touchwood. Take fire when I give fire, that is, laugh when I laugh. What a subject, I'm so witty.
That's true, my lady. I myself have often heard a very good jest and have scorned to seem to have so silly a wit as to
I
understand
can
it.
laugh at your fool, my lord. Antonio, you have excellent riders in France. What do you think of good horsemanship?
Nobly, my lady, as out of the Grecian horse issued many famous princes. So out of brave sportsmanship arise the first sparks of growing resolution that raise the mind to noble action.
You bespoke it worthily. Are the galleys come about?
They are, my lady.
Lord Castruccio, come to take his leave.
Now, sir, your promise. What's the cardinal? I mean, her temper. They say she's a brave fellow, will play her 5,000 crowns of tennis, dance, court ladies, and one that hath fought single combat.
Well, some such flashes hang superficially on her form, but observe her inward character. She is a melancholy churchman. When she grows jealous of any man, she lays in his way worse plots than was ever strewn upon Hercules, for she imposes upon him flatterers, panderers, intelligences, atheists, and 1,000 such political monsters. I mean, she should have been Pope. Instead of coming to it by the primitive decency of the church, she did bestow bribes so largely and so impudently that she would have carried it away without heaven's knowledge. And so did she happen.
You have given enough of her. What's her sister?
The lady there, a most perverse and turbulent nature. What appears in her mirth is merely outside. She laughed heartily, to laugh all honesty out of fashion.
Twins.
In quality, she speaks with others' tongues and hears men's suits with others' ears, will seem to sleep on the bench only to entrap offenders in their answers, dooms men to death by information, rewards by hearsay.
Then the law to her is like a foul black cobweb to a spider. She maketh her dwelling in a prison to entangle those shall feed her.
Most true. She never pays debts unless they be shrewd turns, or those that she will confess that she doth owe. Last, first, this sister there, the cardinal, they that flatter her most do say that oracles hang at her lips, and verily, I believe them. The devil speaks in them. But, for their sister, the right noble Duchess, you've never fixed your eye on 3 fair males cast in one figure of so different temper. For her discourse, it is so full of rapture, you'll only then begin to be sorry when she doth end her speech, and wish ye held it less vainglory to talk much than your penance to hear her. While she speaks, she throws upon a man so sweet a look that it were able to raise one to a galleon. That lay dead in the palsy, and to dote on that divine countenance cuts off all vain and lascivious hope. Her days are practiced in such noble virtue that her nights, nay, her very sleeps, more in heaven than other ladies' shrifts. But old sweet ladies break their flattering glasses and dress themselves in her.
Antonio, you play the wire drawer with her commendations.
Well, I'll case the picture up only thus much. All her particular worth grows to this sum. She stains the time past, and lights the time to come.
My lady requests your presence in the gallery some half an hour hence.
I shall.
Sister,
I have a suit to you.
For me, sister?
a gentleman here, Daniel de Bosler, one that was in the galleys.
Yes, I know him.
A worthy fellow he is. Pray, let me entreat the provisorship of your horse.
Oh. Now, your knowledge of him commends him and prefers him.
Call him hither.
You sure you entertained that fossil of your intelligence?
I would not be seen in it, and therefore many times have slighted him when he did court up evidence, as this morning.
Antonio, the great master of a household, would be far fitter.
No, you are deceived in him. His nature is too honest for such business. He comes. I'll leave you.
I was lured to you.
My sister here, the cardinal, could never abide you.
Never, since you was in my debt.
Maybe some oblique character in your face made suspect you.
Does she study physiognomy? There's no more credit to go into the face into a sick man's urine. Some call the physician's whore because she cousins him. She suspects me Wrongfully.
For that you must give great men leave to take their times. Distrusted causes seldom be deceived. You see, the oft shaking of the cedar tree fastens it more at root.
Yet take heed, suspect a friend unworthily, instructing the first way to suspect you, and then prompts him to deceive.
There's gold.
So, what follows? Never rains such showers as these without thunderbolts in the tail of them. Whose throat must I cut?
Your inclination to shed blood rides post before my occasion to use you. I give you, well, to live in the court here and observe the Duchess, to note all the particulars of her behaviour, what suitors do solicit her for marriage and whom she best affects. She's a young widow. I would not have her marry again.
No, ma'am?
Do not you ask the reason, but see satisfied, I say I would not.
Seems you'd create me one of your familiars.
Familiar? But what's that?
Why, a very quaint invisible devil in flesh. Intelligence.
That's such a kind of thriving thing, I would wish thee. Ere long thou mayst arrive at a higher place,
Take your devils, which hell calls angels. These cursed gifts will make you a corrupter, me an impudent traitor. Should I take them? They take me to
Sir,
hell.
I'll take nothing from you that I have given. There's a place that I procured for you this morning, the proprietorship of the horse. Have you heard of it?
No.
It is yours. You're not worth thanks.
I would have you curse yourself now that your bounty, which makes men truly noble, should make me a villain. Oh, that to avoid ingratitude for the good deed you have done me, I must do all the ill men can invent, thus the devil can be all sinner. Heaven have vile, that name's he. Complimental.
Be yourself. Keep your old garb of melancholy. It will express you envy those that stand above your reach, yet strive not to come near them. This will gain access to private lodgings where yourself may, like a politic doormat.
As I've seen some, sleep in Lord's dish, not seem to listen to any talk, yet have these rogues cut his throat. What's the place? Provision for the horse? Say that my corruption grew out of horse dung. I'm a creature.
Away.
Let good men with good deeds covet good shame, since place and riches oft are bribes of shame. Sometime the devil doth preach.
We are to part from you, and your discretion must now be your director.
You are a widow. You know already what man is, therefore let not youth, high promotion, eloquence.
Nay, not anything without the addition honour, sway, your high married.
They are most luxurious for wed.
Oh,
And
fine.
their livers are more spotted than Laban's sheep.
I've heard diamonds, they say, are more value the longer they've gone through jewelers' hands.
Well, whores, by that rule, are precious.
Will you hear me? No, I'll not marry.
So most widows say, but commonly that motion lasts no longer than the turning of an hourglass. The funeral sermon, and then it goes together.
Now, hear me. You live in a rank pasture. There is a kind of honeydew that is deadly, will poison your fame. Look to it. You're not cunning. Those faces do belie their hearts are witches ere they arrive at 20 years, aye. You will devil suck.
Now that is terrible, good counsel.
Well, hypocrisy is woven of a fine, small thread, subtler than Vulcan's engine, and yet believe it. Your darkest actions, nay, your privatest thoughts will come to light.
You may flatter yourself and privately be married under the eaves of night.
Think of the best voyage that e'er you made, like the irregular crab, which though it goes backward, thinks that it goes right because it goes its own way. But observe, such weddings may more properly be said to be executed than celebrated.
The marriage night is the entrance into some prison.
And those joys, those lustful pleasures are but heavy sleeps which do forerun man's mischief.
Very well. Wisdom begins at the end. Remember it.
I think the speech between you both is steady. But it came so roundly off.
Well, you are my sister. This was father's, Bunyan. You see. I'd be loath to see it rusty, because I would have you give over these chargeable rebels. A visor and a mask of whispering rooms that ever built for business. Very well. And a woman likes variety of courtship. What cannot a neat knave with a smooth tail make a woman believe? Oh well. Lust widow.
Shall this move me? Now, if all my royal kindred lay into my way into this marriage, I'd make them my low footsteps. Now, even in this hate, as men in some great battles, by apprehending danger, have often achieved almost impossible actions. Now, I have heard soldiers say so. So I, through frights and threatenings, will essay this dangerous venture. Now, let old wives report I winked and chose a husband. To thy known secrecy, I have given up more than my life, my fame.
Both shall be safe, for I'll conceal the secret from the world as closely as those that trade in poison keep poison from their children.
Oh, thy protestation is ingenious and hearty. Now, I believe it. Where's Antonio come?
He attends you.
Oh, good gentle soul, lead me. Oh, but place thyself behind the arras where thou mayst overhear us. And there's really good. Oh no, I'm going into a wilderness where I shall find no path nor friendly clue to be my guide. I sent for you. Sit down. Now take pen and ink and write. Are you ready?
Yes.
And what did I say?
That I should write somewhat.
Oh, yes, I remember. Now, after these triumphs and this large expense, it's fit like thrifty husbands we inquire what's laid up for tomorrow.
So please your beauteous excellent.
Beauteous? No, indeed, I thank you. I look young for your sake. You have taken my cares upon you.
I'll fetch your grace the particulars of your revenue and expenses.
Oh, no, you're an upright treasurer, but you mistake. Now, when I said I meant to inquire what's laid up for tomorrow, I did mean what's laid up yonder for me.
Where?
In heaven. I am making my will, as 'tis fit princes should in perfect memory. Now, and I pray, sir, tell me, were one not better make it, smiling thus than in deep groans and terrible ghastly looks, as if the gifts we parted with procured that violent distraction.
Much better.
Now, if I had a husband now, this care would quit. But I intend to make you overseer. What good deed shall we first remember? Say.
Begin with that first good deed that began in the world after man's creation, the sacrament of marriage. I'd have you first provide for a good husband, give him all.
All?
Well, yes, your excellent self.
In a winding sheet.
In a couple.
Saint Winifred, that were a strange will.
'Twas stranger than if there were no will in you to marry again.
Now, what is your opinion of marriage?
I take it as those that deny purgatory. It locally contains heaven nor hell. There's no third in it.
How do you affect it?
Look, my banishment feeding my melancholy would often reason thus.
Oh, pray let's hear it.
Well, say a man never marry nor have children. What takes that from him? Only the bare name of being a father, or the pale delight to see the little wanton ride a cock horse upon a painted stick. And
Fine. Why was all this? One of your eyes is bloodshot. Put my ring to it. They say it is very sovereign. 'Twas my wedding ring. Now I did vow never to part with it, but to my second husband.
you've parted with it now.
Yes, to help your eyesight.
You have made me stark blind.
How?
There is a saucy and ambitious devil dancing in this circle.
Remove him.
How?
No, there needs more conjuration. When your finger may do it thus. Where's it fit?
What said you?
Sir, this goodly roof of yours is too low built. I cannot stand upright in it, nor discourse without I raise it higher. Raise yourself. Or if you please, my hand to help you.
Ambition, madam, is a great man's madness. It's not kept in chains and close-pent rooms, but in fair lights and lodgings. It is girt with the wild noise of prattling visitants, which makes it lunatic beyond all cure. Now, conceive not I am so stupid, but I aim whereto your favours tend. But he's a fool that, being a cold, would thrust his hands in the fire to warm them.
So, now the ground is broke. But you may discover what a wealthy mind I make your lord of.
Oh, my unworthiness.
No, you are ill to sell yourself. This darkening of your worth is not like that which tradesmen use in the city. No, their false lights are to rid bad wares off. And I must tell you, if you know where breathes a complete man, I speak this without flattery, turn your eyes and progress through yourself.
Were there heaven nor hell, I should be honest. I've long served virtue and never taken wages of her.
But now she pays it. Oh, the misery of us that are born great. No, we are forced to woo because none dare woo us. Now, as a tyrant doubles with his words and fearfully equivocates, so we are forced to express our violent passions in fears, riddles, dreams, and leave the path of simple virtue, which is never made to seem the thing it is not. No, go brag. You've left me heartless. The mine is in your bosom. I hope 'twill multiply love there. Oh, you do tremble. Make your heart not so dead a piece of flesh to fear more than to love me. Sir, be confident. Now, what is it distracts you? This is flesh and blood, sir. It is not the figure cut in alabaster that kneels at my husband's tomb. Now, awake, man. I here do put off all vain ceremony, and only do appear to you a young widow that claims you for her husband. And like a widow, I use but half a blushment.
Truth speak for me, I will remain the constant sanctuary of your good name.
I thank you, gentle love. And as you shall not come to me in debt, being now my steward, here upon your lips I sign your quietus. No, this you should have begged now. Now, I have seen children oft eat sweet meats thus, as fearful to devour them too soon.
But for your sisters,
Oh, no, do not think of them. Now, all discord without this circumference is only to be pitied, not feared. And yet, should they know it, time will easily scatter the tempest.
well, these words should have been mine own. And all those that would not have some savoured flattery.
Kneel. Forbid not not amazed. This woman is of my council. No, I have heard lawyers say a contract in a chamber for Weber to Presenti is absolute marriage. Thus heaven, the sacred guardian, which let violence never untwine.
May our sweet affections, like the spheres, be still in motion.
Quickening and make thee like soft music.
That we may imitate the loving palms of a peaceful marriage that never brought fruit divided.
No walk in the church, poor small.
But fortune may not know an accident either of joy or of sorrow to divide our fixed wishes.
And how can the church build faster? No, we are now man and wife, and 'tis the church that must but echo this. Maid, stand apart. No, I am now blind.
What's your conceitedness?
I would have you lead your fortune by the hand into your marriage bed. You speak and lead us, for now we are one. I will only lie and talk together and plot to appease my humorous kindred. And may a sword between us keep us chaste. No, let me shroud my blushes in your bosom. It is the treasury of all my secrets.
Whether the spirits of woman or of greatness reigns most in her, I know not. It shows a fearful madness. I owe her much of pity.
I observe our Duchess is sick of days. She pukes, her stomach seethes, the fins of her eyelids look most teeming blue. She wanes in the cheek and waxes fat in the flank, and, contrary to our Italian fashion, wears a loose bodied gown. There's somewhat in it. I have a trick, may chance discover it, a pretty one. It was some apricots. First our spring news.
And so long since married. You amaze me.
Well, let me seal your lips forever, for if I thought that anything but the air could carry these words from you, I should wish you had no breath at all. Now, sir, in your contemplation, you are studying to become a great wise fellow.
Oh, sir, the opinion of wisdom is a foul pepper that runs all over a man's body. If simplicity directs us to have no evil, it directs us to a happy being. The subtlest folly proceeds from the subtlest wisdom. Let me be simply honest.
I do understand your insight.
Do you, sir?
Because you would not appear to the world puffed up with your preferment, you do continue this out-of-fashion melancholy. Leave it. Leave it.
Give me leave, be honest. Any phrase, any compliment whatsoever. Shall I confess myself to you? I look no further than I can reach. They are the gods that must ride on winged horses. The lawyer's mule of a slow pace both suits my disposition and business. For, mark me, when a man's mind rides faster than his horse can gallop, it quickly both tire.
You would look up to heaven, but I think the devil that rules in the air stands in your light.
Oh, sir, you are Lord of the Ascendant, chief man of the Duchess. Duke was your cousin's German remove. Say you were lineally descended from King Pepin, or he himself. What of? Search the heads of the greatest rivers in the world. You shall find them but bubbles of water. Some would think the souls of princes were brought forth by some more weighty cause than those of meaner persons. They are deceived. There's the same hand to them. The like passions sway them. The same reason that makes a vicar go to the law for a kite pig and undo his neighbours makes them spoil their whole province and batter down goodly cities with the cannon.
Your arm, Antonio. Or do I not grow fat? No, I am exceedingly short-winded. Bosler, I would have you, sir, provide for me a litter, such a one as the Duchess of Florence rode in.
The Duchess, she was great with child.
Yes, I think she did. No, come, mend my ruff. We're here when? Oh, thou art such a tedious lady. When thy breath smells of lemon pills. What was thou hast done? Or shall I swoon under thy fingers? I am so troubled with the mother.
Oh, I fear too much.
I have heard you say that French courtiers wear their hats on before their king.
I have seen it.
In the presence?
Yes.
Why should Maureen not bring up that fashion? Well, 'tis ceremony more than duty that consists in the removing of a piece of felt. No, be you the example to the rest of the court. Put on your hat first.
Well, you must pardon me, madam. I have seen in colder countries than in France, nobles stand bare to the prince, and the distinction is all shown reverently.
I have a present for your grace.
For me, sir.
Apricots.
Sir, where are they? I have heard of none to you.
Good, her colour rises.
No, indeed, I thank you. Oh, they are wondrous fair ones. And what an unskillful fellow is our gardener. We shall have none this month.
Will your grace not par them?
No. They taste as musk, methinks. No, indeed they do.
I know not, yet I wish your grace had parred them.
Why?
I forgot to tell you, the knave gardener, only to raise his profits by them the sooner, he'd ripen them in horse dung.
Oh, you just. No, sure, judge. Very taste one.
Oh, indeed, madam, I love not the fruit.
Sir, now you are loath to rob us of our dainties. 'Tis a delicate fruit. They say they are restorative.
'Tis a pretty art, this grafting.
'Tis so, a bettering of nature.
To make a pippin grow up on a crab, a damson, and a blackthorn. How greedily she eats them. Oh, whirlwinds strike off these bored farthingales, for but for that and the loose-bodied gown, and her parent discovered young Sprignal cutting a caper in her belly.
I thank you, Bosler. They were right good ones. No, if they do not make me sick.
How now, madam?
Oh no, I am in an extreme cold sweat. Oh, this green fruit and my stomach are not friends. How they swell me.
Nay, you are too much swelled already.
The lights to my chamber. Antonio, I fear I am undone. Lights, sir, lights!
Oh, most trusty Helio, I fear we are lost. I fear she's fallen in labour, and there's left no time for her remove.
Have you prepared the ladies to attend her and procured the politic-safe conveyance for the midwife your Duchess plotted?
I have.
Make use then of this forced occasion. Give out that Bosler hath poisoned her with these apricots. That will give some colour for her keeping close.
Fie, the physicians will then flock to her.
For that, you may pretend she'll use some antidote of her own, lest the physicians should re-poison her.
I'm lost in amazement. I know not what to think on it.
So. But there's no question but her tetchiness and this vulturous eating of apricots are apparent signs of breeding. Now,
I'm in haste, sir.
oh, there was a young waiting woman had a much desire to see the glass house.
Nay, let me go. I'll hear no more of the glass house. You are still abusing women.
Who I? No. Only by way now and then mention your frailties. The orange tree bears ripe and green fruit and blossoms all together. Some of you are going to say pure love, but more for more precious reward. Lusty spring smells well, but drooping autumn tastes well. If we have the same golden showers that rain the time dupe to the thunderer, you have the same delays still. Hold up the laps and receive them. So now study the mathematics.
What's that, sir?
Why the trick how to make many lines meet in one centre. Go. Go! Fetch your foster daughters good counsel. Tell them the devil delights to hang a woman's girdle like a false rusty watch. She can't discern how time passes.
Forgets.
What's the danger?
Shut up the posters presently. Call up the officers of the court. Who keeps the key of the park gate?
The master.
Let them bring it presently.
These apricots are poisoned now without my knowledge.
There was 14 an hour Switzer.
Gentlemen!
We have lost much plate, as you know. And but this evening, jewels to the value of 4,000 ducats are missing in the Duchess' cabinet. Are the gates shut?
Yes.
'Tis the Duchess' pleasure each officer be locked into his chamber till the sun rising, and to send the key of all his doors and outward chests into her bedchamber. She is very sick.
At pleasure.
She entreats you take it not ill. The innocent shall be more approved by it.
Gentlemen of the Woodyard, where's your Switzer now?
It was incredibly reported by one of the black
How fares it with the Duchess?
She's exposed unto the worst of torture, pain, and fear.
Speak to her all happy comfort.
How I did play the fool in mine own life. You are, this night, dear friend, supposed to Rome. My life lies in your service.
Do not doubt me.
But it's far from me, and yet fear presents me somewhat that looks like danger.
Believe it. 'Tis but the shadow of your fear, no more. How superstitiously we mind our evils, the throwing down of salt, the crossing of a hare, the bleeding of the nose, the stumbling of a horse, the singing of a cricket, are of a power to daunt whole man in us. Sir, I wish you all the joys of a blessed father, and for my faith I lay this unto your breast. Old friends, like old swords, still are trusted best.
Blessed comfort. For heaven's sake, I'll tend its nativity.
Sure, I did hear a woman shriek. And the sound came, if I received it right, from the Duchess's lodging. There's some stratagem in the confining of all our courtiers to several wards. I must have part of it. My intelligence will freeze else. List. Maybe it was the solitary bird, best friend of melancholy and silence, the owl that shrieked so. Oh, Antonio!
I heard some noise. Who's there? What art thou? Speak.
Oh, Antonio, can look a face in your body, such a forced expression of fear. And Bossler, your friend.
Ah, Bossler. This mould has undermined me. Heard you a noise? Not even now.
From whence?
From the Duchess' lodgings.
Not I, did you?
I did. Or else I dreamed.
Let's walk towards it.
No. Maybe 'twas but the rising of the wind.
Oh, very likely. It is very cold. Yet you seem to sweat. You look wildly.
I have been setting a figure for the Duchess jewels! Ah!
And how broad your question? You find it radical.
Well, what's that to you? 'Tis rather to be questioned, what design, when all men were commanded to their lodgings, makes you a night walker?
Oh, in sooth, I'll tell you. Now all the court's asleep. I thought the devil had least to do here. I came to say my prayers. And if it offend you, I do so well. You are an excellent courtier.
This fellow will undo me. You gave the Duchess apricots today. Pray heaven they were not poisoned.
Poison to Spanish fig for reputation.
Traitors are ever confident till they're discovered. There were jewels stolen as well. In my conceit, none are to be suspected more than yourself.
You are false steward.
Saucy slave, I'll pull thee up by thy roots.
Or maybe the ruin will crush you to pieces.
But you are an impudent snake indeed, sir. Are you scarce warm, and do you show your sting? You libel well.
Oh no, sir, copy that. I'll set my
Hands fall! My nose bleeds!
One little superstitious might think this ominous when it nearly comes by chance. Two figures that are wrought for my name are drowned in blood. No accident.
For you, sir, I shall take order in the morning, you shall be safe. 'Tis that must colour her life in. Sir, this door pass you not. I do not hold it fit you should go near the Duchess' lodgings till you have quit yourself. Great are like the base, they're the same when they seek shameful ways to avoid shame.
Antonio, you're about to drop a piece of paper. Tell your help, false friend. What's here? Here it is. A child's nativity calculated. The Duchess was delivered of a son between the hours of 12 and 1 in the night, Anno Dom 1504, that's this year, December non Decemberis, that's this night taken according to the meridian of Malfi, that's our Duchess, happy discovery. The Lord of the 5th house, being combust in the ascendant, signifies a short life, and Mars, being in a human sign, joined to the tail of the dragon in the 8th house, will present a violent death. Sietra non scritumnal. Why now it is most apparent this precise fellow, the Duchess is born, I have it to my wish. Oh, this is the pass of intelligence, all our court is the case upward, and it must needs follow then, that I am committed on pretence of poisoning her, which I'll endure and laugh at. Oh, if one could find a father now! But that's time to discover. Oxtrucio in the morning, post to Rome. By him, I'll send a letter that shall make her sister's galls flow their lips. Close to 50 way. The lusts do mask in ne'er so strange disguise. She's oft found witty, but is never wise.
Thou art my best of wishes. Prithee, tell me, how didst thou come to Rome without thy husband?
Why, my lady, I told him I came to visit an old anchorite, here for devotion.
Thou art a witty false one. I mean, to him.
You prevailed with me beyond my strongest thoughts. I would not now find you.
Oh, do not put yourself to such a voluntary torture which proceeds out of your own guilt.
My lady.
Well, you fear my constancy because you have approved these giddy and wild turnings in yourself. Did you outfind them? Sooth, generally for women, man may strive to make glass malleable ere he can make them fixed. So, my lady, we had needs go borrow that fantastic glass invented by Galileo the Florentine to view another spacious world in the moon and look to find a constant woman there.
Did you ever find them?
Why do you weep? Are tears your justification? These self-same tears will fall into your husband's bosom, lady, with a loud protestation that you love him above the world. I'll love you wisely. That's jealousy, since I am very certain you cannot make me cuckold.
I'll go home to my husband.
You may thank me, lady. I have taken you off your melancholy perch, bore you upon my fist, showed you game, and let you fly at it. A pretty kiss. Now, when thou wast with thy husband, thou wast watched like a tame elephant. Still you are to thank me. When thou wast with thy husband, thou had but high kisses and high feeding. But what delight was that? 'Twas very like one that hath a little fingering on the lute, yet cannot tune it. Still you are to thank me.
You told me of a piteous wound in the heart and a sick liver when you wooed me first. And speak like the one in
What's that?
A gentleman rides post from Malfi, madam, and requires to speak with you.
Do not fear my affection to thee. Lightning moves slow to it. Go, you may come to me tomorrow.
this night digged up a mandrake.
Say you?
And I'm grown mad with it. Read that! A sister damned! She is loose in the hills and growing notorious strumpets! Lower. Rogues will not whisper it now, but seek to publish it, as their servants do. The bounty of their lords allow them with a covetous searching eye to mark whom not the more confusion sees her. She has had most cunning balls to serve her turn, and more secure conveyances for lust than towns and garrisons for service. Can this be said? Oh, rumor of the purge this colour. There's the cursed date to prompt my memory. And here it shall stick. Full of a bleeding heart and a sponge to wipe it out.
Why do you make yourself so wild a tempest?
Oh, would I could be one that I might toss her palace about her ears, root up a goodly forest, blast her meads, and lay all her territory to waste, as she has done our honour.
Shall our blood, the royal blood of Aragon and Castile, be thus tainted?
Apply desperate physic. We must not now use balsamum but fire. This smarting cupping glass, but that's the means of purging infected blood. Such blood as hers. Oh, there's pity in mine eye. I'll give it to my own picture. And now 'tis here. I'll bequeath this to her bastard.
What to do?
Why, to make soft lint for his mother's wounds when I have hewed her to pieces.
Cursed creature, unequal nature to place women's hearts so far upon the left side.
Foolish men, that I will put their trust in a bark made of so slight, weak bulrush as his woman apt every minute to sink it.
Thus, ignorance, when it hath purchased honour, it cannot wield it.
Methinks I see her. Laughing. Ah, talk to me somewhat quickly, or my imagination will carry me to see her in this shameful act of sin.
With whom?
Oh, happily with some strong-thighed bargeman, or one of the woodyard that can quoit the sledge or toss the bar, or else some lovely squire that carries coal up to her privy lodging.
You fly beyond your wings.
Go tell, mistress! Take the door's milk that'll quench my wild fire with your whole blood!
Finding shows this rage, which carries you as men, conveyed by witches through the air on violent whirlwind. This intemperate noise doth fitly resemble deaf men's shrill discourse, who talk aloud, thinking all other men to have their imperfections.
Have you not, my palsy?
Yes, I can be angry without this rapture. There is not in nature a thing that doth make man so beastly, so deformed, as doth intemperate anger. We have divers men who have never yet expressed their need of rest, but by unrest, by vexing of themselves. Come, put yourself in tune.
So I will only study to seem the thing I am not. I could kill her now, in you, or in myself, for I do fear it is some sin in us that heaven doth revenge by her.
Are you stark mad?
I would have their bodies burnt in a coal pit with the ventage stopped, that their cursed smoke might not ascend to heaven. Or dip the sheets they lie in pitch, or sulphur wrap them in and then light them like a match, or else to boil their bastards to a curse, give his lecherous father to renew the sin of his back.
I'll leave you.
Nay, I have done. I'm confident that had I been damned in hell and should have heard of this, it would put me into a cold sweat. in that, I'll go sleep till I know who loves my sister or not. That known, I'll find scorpions to string my wings. Fix her in a general eclipse.
Oh, my most trusty friend, noble Delio. You have been a stranger along the court. Came you along with Lady Ferdinand?
I did, sir. How fares your noble Duchess?
Right, fortunately well. She's an excellent feeder of pedigrees. Since you saw her last, she has had 2 children more, a son and a daughter.
But yesterday, methinks, let me but wink and not behold thy face, which to mine eye is somewhat leaner. Verily, I should dream it well within this half hour.
Well, you've not been in law, friend Delio, nor in prison, nor a suitor at the court, nor begged the reversion of some great man's place, nor troubled with an old wife, which doth make your time so insensibly hasten.
Pray, sir, hath not this news yet reached the ear of the Lady Cardinal?
Ah, I fear it hath. The Lady Ferdinand, that's newly come to court, doth bear herself right dangerously.
Pray, why?
She seems to sleep out the tempests as dormites do in winter. Those houses that are most haunted are still till the devil be up.
What say the common people of the Duchess?
Well, the common rabble do directly say she is a strumpet.
And your graver heads, which would be politic? What sense are they?
They do observe I grow to infinite purchase the left-hand way, and all suppose that the Duchess would amend it if she could. For say they great princes, though they begrudge that their officers should have such large and unconfined means to get wealth beneath them, will not complain, lest thereby they grow odious unto the people. But for further obligation of love and marriage between her and myself, they do not dream.
I'll instantly to bed for him. I am to bespeak a husband.
For me, sister. Pray, who is it?
Great Count Malatesti.
No, fire upon him. The Count. No, he is a mere stick of sugar candy. You may look quite through him. No, when I choose a husband, I will marry for your honour.
You shall do well in it. Ah, how is it? Worthy Antonio?
Dear sister, I am to have a private conference with you about a scandalous report is spread touching mine honour.
Be ever deaf to it. Pascal's paper bullets called calumny. Pestilent air which princes' palaces are seldom purged of. Yet, say that it were true. Fixed love would strongly excuse, extenuate, nay, deny false for the apparent in you. Be safe in your own innocency.
Oh, blessed comfort. No, this deadly air is purged.
The guilt treads on hot burning causes. Now bustle how thrives our intelligence.
Marmon, certainly. 'Tis rumoured you'd had 3 baths, but by whom? Well, make a reading the start.
Some hold opinion all things are written.
If we could but find the spectacles to read them. Do you suspect some sorcery hath been used upon the Duchess?
Sorcery? To what purpose?
To make her dote upon some desertless fellow she shames to acknowledge.
What, can your faith give way? Do you think there is power in potions or charms to make us love whether we will or no?
Most certainly.
Oh, away! These are mere gulleries, horrid things invented by some cheating mountebanks to abuse us. They think herbs and charms force the will. Now, some trials were made in this foolish practice, but the ingredients were limited, poisons such as are a force to make the patient mad. And straight the witch swears by equivocation they are in love. Now, the witchcraft lies in her rank blood. This night I will force confession from her. You told me you had got within these 2 days a false key into her bedchamber,
I have.
as I would wish.
What do you intend to do?
Can you guess?
No.
I did not ask then. He that can compass me and know my drifts may say that he hath put a girdle about the word, and sounded all the quicksands.
I do not think so.
No, what do you think then, Fred?
That you are your own chronicle too much and do grossly flatter yourself.
Give me thy hand. Aye, he. You know, I never gave pension but to flatterers till I entertained you. Well, that friend of great man's ruin strongly checks, who rails into his belief, all his defects.
Fetch me the casket hither and the glass. You'll get no lodging here tonight, my lord.
Indeed. I must persuade one.
Oh, very good. Now, I hope in time 'twill grow into a custom that noblemen shall come with cap and knee to persuade a night's lodging of their wives.
Well, I must lie here.
I must. Oh no, thou art lord of misrule.
Indeed, my only rule was night.
And to what use will you put me?
We'll sleep together.
Alas, what pleasure can two lovers find in sleep?
Sir, I lie with her often, and I know she'll much disquiet you.
I see you are complaining of.
For she is the sprawlingest of bedfellows.
Well, I shall like her better for it.
Sir, shall I ask you a question?
I pray thee, Cariola.
Wherefore, when you lie with my lady, you rise so early?
Well, labouring men count the clock oftenest, Cariola, are glad when their tasks.
Stop your mouth.
Well, nay, that was but one. Venus had two soft doves to draw her chariot. I must have another.
I prithee, when were we so merry? Oh, my hair tangles. Oh my God.
I pray thee, Cariola, let's steal forth the room and let her talk amongst herself. Divers times served her like when she hath chafed extremely. I love to see her angry. Softly, carry on.
Does the colour in my hair begin to change? Oh no, when I wax grey, I shall have all the court powder their hair with avarice to be like me. No, you have cause to love me. I entered you into my heart before you would vouchsafe call for the keys. One day you shall have my sisters take you napping. Though methinks her presence, being now in court, should make you keep your own bed. But alas, you'll say, love mixed with fear is sweetest. No, I'll assure you, you shall get no more children until my sisters consent to be your gossips. What have thou lost thy tongue? That is welcome. To know whether I'm doomed to live or die, I can do both like a prince.
Aye then. Quickly. Virtue, where art thou hid? What hideous thing is it that doth eclipse thee?
The praise to hear me.
True, that thou art a bare name and no essential thing. Do not speak.
No, sister, I will plant my soul in thine ears to hear.
Thou most infamous light of human reason that makes us so unhappy to foresee what we can least prevent. Pursue thy wishes and glory in them. For there is in shame no comfort but to be past all bounds and sense of shame.
Sister, hear me. Now I am married.
So,
Happily. No, not to your liking, but alas, your shears do come untimely now to clip the bird's wing that's already flown. Now will you see my husband?
change I for the basilisk.
Oh, sure. I mean, you came hither by his confederacy.
The howl of the wolf is music to thee, screech out, prithee. Shh. Whatever thou art, that has enjoyed my sister! For I am sure thou hearest me. For thine own sake, I came hither, prepared to work thy discovery, yet I now persuade that it would beget such violent effects as would damn us both. I would not for 10 millions I beheld thee. For use or means, I never may have knowledge of thy name. Enjoy thy lust still, in a wretched life, in that condition. And for thee, vile woman, if thou do wish thy lecher should grow old in thy embracements, I would have thee build such a room for him as our anchorites to holier use inhabit. Then let the sun shine on him until he is dead. Let dogs and monkeys only converse with him, and such other dumb things to whom nature lies used to sound his name. Do not keep a parakeeto lest she learn it. If thou do love him, cut out thine own tongue, lest it bewray him.
No, why am I not? I marry. No, I have not gone about in this to create any new world or custom.
Thou art undone. And thou hast taken that massy sheet of lead that hid thy husband's bones and folded it about my heart.
I beat for it.
Thy heart. What should I name it but a hollow bullet filled with unquenchable wild fire?
No, you are in this too strict. Were you not my princely sister, I would say too willful. No, my reputation
Dost thou know
is
what
safe.
reputation is? I'll tell thee. To small purpose, since the instruction comes now too late. Upon a time, reputation, love, and death would travel all the world, and it was concluded that they should part and take 3 several ways. Death told them to fight him in great battles or in cities plagued with plagues. Love gives them counsel to inquire for him amongst unambitious shepherds where dowries were not talked of, or else amongst quiet kindred had nothing left to them by their dead parents. Stay, quoth reputation, do not forsake me. For it is in my nature that once I part from any man I meet, I am never found again. And so for you. You have shook hands with reputation and made him invisible. So fare you well. I will never see you more.
Almost I like. No, why should only I? No, all other princes of the world would be cased up like a holy relic. No, I have youth and a little beauty.
So you have some virgins that are witches. I will never see thee more.
Antonio? Did you see this apparition?
Yes, we are betrayed. How came she hither? I should turn this to thee for that.
Pray, sir, do. When you have cleft my heart, you shall read there mine innocence.
The gallery gave her entrance.
Oh, if this terrible thing would enter again, so that standing my guard, I might relate my warrantable love. What means this?
She left this with me.
And it seems, did wish you'd use it on yourself.
Her actions seem to intend so much.
Well, this hath a handle to it, as well as a point. Turn it towards her, and so fasten a keen edge in her rank gall. And now who knocks? More earthquakes.
No, I stand as if a mine beneath my feet were ready to be blown up. 'Tis possible. Oh, hey, no, methinks unjust action should wear these masks and curtains, not we. You must immediately part heads. I have fashioned it already.
Sister, the Lady Ferdinand, is tailing up in a whirlwind and took horse and rid post to Rome.
Was so late.
As she mounted into the saddle, she did tell me you were undone.
Oh, indeed, I am very near it.
What's the matter?
Antonio, the master of our household, have dealt so falsely with me in his accounts. My sister stood engaged with me for money taken up of certain Neapolitans, And Antonio lets the bonds be forfeit.
Strange. Well, this is coming.
And hereupon my sister's bills at Naples are protested against. Now call up our officers.
I shall.
Tracy must fly to you as a coroner. Hire a house there. I'll send after you my treasures and my jewels. Our weak safety runs upon ingenious wheels. No short sibyls must stand for periods. Now, I must now accuse you of such a feigned crime as Tasso calls magnanima menzonia, a noble lie, because it must shield our honours. Hark, they're coming.
Will not your grace hear?
Oh, now I've got well by you. Now you have yielded me 1 million of loss. Now I'm like to inherit the people's curses for your stewardship. No, you had the trick in order time to be sick until I assigned your quietus est, and that cured you without the help of a doctor. Now, gentlemen, I would have this man be an example to you all. So shall you hold my favour, I pray, let he, for he hath done that, alas. Now you would not think of. And as I means to be rid of him, I means not to publish. Now use your fortune elsewhere.
I am strongly armed to brook my overthrow, as commonly men bear with a hard year. I will not blame the cause on it, but do think the necessity of my malevolent star procures this, not her humour. The inconstant and rotten ground of good service, 'tis even like he who on a winter night takes a long slumber over a dying fire, loth to part from it, yet parts thence as cold as when he first came.
Would you here confiscate towards the satisfying of your accounts all that you have?
I am all yours. As fit all mine should be, sir.
So, sir, you have your pass.
Gentlemen, you may see what it is to serve a prince with body and soul.
Well, here's an example for extortion. When moisture is run out of the sea, when foul weather comes, pours down and runs into the sea.
Now, I would know what are your opinions of this Antonio.
He stopped up his ears with black wool and said to those who came to him for money that he was interfering.
Yes, some say he was impotent, for he cannot abide a woman.
How scurvy proud he would be if the treasury was full. Well, let him go.
Yes, and the chickerings of the buttery fly after him to scour his coach.
No, leave us. What do you think of these?
But these are rogues, in his prosperity, but to wait on his fortune, could have wished his dirty stirrup riveted through their noses and followed after his mule like an ass in a ring, would have prostituted their daughters to his lust, made their firstborn intelligences, and thought none happy but such as are born under his blessed planet, and do these lies drop off now? Well, never looked to have the like again. He had left sort of flattering rogues behind him, their doom must follow. But princes pay flatterers in their own money, they dissemble their vices, flatterers dissemble their lies, that's justice, alas. Poor gentleman.
Poor. No, he hath amply filled his coffers.
Sure, he was too honest. Pluto, the god of riches, when he sent like Jupiter to any man, he goes limping, to signify that wealth that comes on God's name comes slowly, but when sent on the devil's errand, he rides post and comes in by scuttles. Let me show you what the most unvalued jewel you have, a wanton humour, thrown away to bless the man shall find him. He was an excellent courtier, in most faith. A soldier that thought it as devilish to acknowledge his own humour too little, as beastly to know it too much. Both his form and virtue deserved a far better fortune. His discourse rather delighted to judge itself than show itself. His breast was filled with all perfection. It seemed a private whispering room. It made so little noise.
No, but he was basely descended.
Oh, will you make yourself a mercenary, Harold? rather examine men's pedigrees than virtues. Let me show you, for you shall want him. An honest statesman to a prince is like a cedar planted by a spring. The spring bathes the tree's root, the regretful tree rewards it with its shadow. You have not done so. I would sooner swim to the Bermudes on 2 politicians' rotten bladders tied together with an intelligence's heartstring and depend on so changeable a prince's favour. Oh, fare you well, Antonio. The mouths of the world must needs down with thee. It cannot be said yet that any ill happened unto thee, considering thy fall was accompanied with virtue.
Oh, sir. No, you render me excellent music.
Say,
Now, this good one that you speak of, he's my husband.
do I not dream? Can it be this ambitious age has so much goodness in it as to prefer a man merely for worth without the shadows of wealth and painted honours? Is possible.
I have had 3 children by him.
Fortunate lady. You have made your private nuptial bed the humble and fair seminary of peace, no question, but many a beneficiary scholar shall pray for you for this deed and rejoice that some preferment in the world can yet arise from merit. The virgins of your land that have no dowry shall hope, for example, will raise them to rich husbands. Should you want soldiers, return the very Turks and Moors Christian and serve you for this act last. The neglected poets of your time, in honor of this trophy of a man. So thank you in your grave for it, raised by that curious engine, your white hand. For Antonio, his fame shall likewise flow from many a pen, when heralds shall want coats to sell.
Now, as I taste comfort in this friendly speech, so would I find concealment.
The secret of my prince I will wear on the inside of my heart.
Well, you shall take charge of my coin and jewels.
So,
Follow him, for he retires himself to Ancona, whither within a few days I mean to follow thee.
let me think. I would wish your grace to feign a pilgrimage to Our Lady of Loretto, yes, 7 leagues from fair Ancona. Thereby you may depart your country in more honour, and your flight will seem a princely progress, returning your usual train about you.
No, sir, your direction shall lead me by the hand.
In my opinion, she would do better to progress to the baths at Germany or the spas at Lucca. For, if you will believe me, I do not like this feigned pilgrimage, this jesting with religion.
But thou art a superstitious fool. Prepare our departure immediately. Past sorrows, let us moderately lament them. For those to come, speak wisely to prevent them.
Oh, politician is a devil's quilted anvil. He fashions all sins on him, and the blows are never heard. He may work in a lady's chamber, as here, for proof. Oh, what rest but I reveal all to my lady? Oh, this base quality of intelligence, so why every quality in the world desires but gain and commendation. Now, for this act, I am certain to be raised, whilst men that paint weeds to the life are praised.
everyone, we will now be taking a 20-minute interval. However, as it is very cold outside, you are welcome to stay inside the barn for this. If you do want to use toilet facilities, though, the nearest site in Vanbrugh, in V-Bar, which is just kind of right out of the barn, and then you carry on right down the road and you get to the building just there. So we will be restarting. Sorry, maths is not my strong point.